Oh boy, is that my friend Milton?
Marvin!
Oh,
we're back.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen.
Marv, it has been way too long. Thank God, CryptoWise is back.
We are back. It's been a while. It's been a minute. How long has it been?
You, dude, I missed you. I missed talking crypto. I missed all our CryptoWisers. Well, I was looking at our YouTube here. It's been 4 months.
4 months?
4 months ago, we did a video, and that was to update everyone on Kylan, talk about whether it was going to survive this bear market. And in 4 months, nothing has changed. The market is pretty much exactly where it was 4 months ago. But yeah, this is embarrassing. CryptoWisers, we apologize. We're really sorry. It's not like the bear market came and we decided to disappear on you. But the whole macro economy went crazy. We had to, go to our other businesses and make sure they didn't fall apart also. So it's just been a really busy time, but there's still always so much to talk about in crypto, even in these down times.
I had somebody message me today and just say, crypto has been really, really boring. Really, really boring. And it's kind of true to some degree.
But in these extended bear markets, it is really hard to kind of keep the energy up and keep the excitement going. But but this is, I know it's become cliche now, but really this is the time when you make all your money. It's
100%.
Being the few people who are still paying attention, obsessively following, DCAing into the projects that you believe in, that you really have strong long-term commitment on. And then, one day it's gonna pay off. It's gonna pay off. We just don't know when. And
I would say if you're new to crypto or just getting into crypto, there's probably no better time than to do it in the middle of a bear, like right now, because there's no rush to get your bags right here today, but you can do it in a nice time frame, over a period of time, and start building your bags here at what I believe to be close to what our likely long-term bottom is here in this bear.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, let's just jump in. Let's jump right in. All right. So
let's jump right in.
What would you be doing? Let's say, okay, let's give Marv, you give your strategy. I'll give my little strategy here of just like what we're doing right now. What are you doing right now? What is your strategy with crypto right now?
It's pretty simple. I'm turning on my Xbox and I'm playing Call of Duty while watching the Bitcoin pretty much go from 19.5 to 19.2 to 18.9 and back up.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been. So I mentioned that we did our last video 4 months ago, and I got the weekly Bitcoin chart here, and look, it's just been ranging. Basically, we had a big dump at the end of May. So that's when we went from 30K, and then we hit basically 17 something around, 18,000, just under 18,000. That a lot of people think maybe that was the bottom. Now we're fairly close to it now, again at just over 19,000. But what do you think? Do you think the bottom is in?
In all seriousness,
do you think that 17, whatever it was, 17.6 or whatever that this wick here?
So
that was
my opinion. My opinion is
that was it.
The honest answer is I'm not 100% convinced that was it. I don't know for sure. One thing that I do think is that the likelihood is we're probably going to be in this market with some ups and downs from here. I don't think it. I think traditionally, come December, we could see a decent sized little pump. Bitcoin could go back up into the mid 20s, but at the same time, is it possible for Bitcoin to go back down and maybe go below 17? Yeah, it's possible, right? And can ETH go below 1,000 again before we're in our next real bull? It's possible. So what I do think that is that we're likely have a considerable amount of time before the next real bull comes, and there'll be some volatility between here and there, but the likelihood is that we're in a pretty low range right now, what I would call the bottom range. And so will there be some dips? Yeah, very possible. There's some dips from here. I don't think we're going to see a massive recovery happen, tomorrow or anytime in the very near future, where it was this was the bottom and it's too late. I think there's time. And I think for anyone that's new coming in right now, it's great because you can, you can average in your position. You don't have to. If I had $100 to buy crypto, and I wouldn't say go buy $100 today. I'd say, I'm just using $100. Maybe it's 100,000. Maybe it's more, but I would say, do 20% of that purchase right this week, and then analyze it over the next few weeks and a month, and then average it in over the course of the next few months, because I really do think we're looking at like 12, 14 months plus before the next real bull takes place. Now, there's a lot of outside factors that could change that, but the world economy, the capital markets, everything else that's going on, it looks like we're probably in for some pain outside of crypto for a little while here. And so the reality is, I don't see anything taking us into a bull in the immediate future. Now, the one thing that I do want to say is, because you asked me what I was doing, one thing that, I think was important if you were in crypto during this bull was consolidating out of some of those. If you were able to consolidate out of some of those high risk alts that got absolutely destroyed and maybe don't even have liquidity anymore, into some of the bigger blue chips, that would have been a good move. To ride the bear. That's in the past.
Now it's a bit too late.
It's a bit late for that. But that was one thing that obviously I did. And now what I'm doing is, I'm not selling. Number one thing, I'm not selling any of my positions at this point. It'd be retarded for me to sell.
So what are you sitting on these days? Because
I'm still buying. I'm still buying in small increments wherever I can get cash from, or if I have cash from outside sources, I'm still buying crypto. And sorry, what was the question?
What are you sitting on? And and then if you're still buying, what are you buying? Because we haven't talked for a long time, especially to our audience here. And for me, I didn't, I did fine in the last bull run. Like, I can't complain, obviously. And because I've been in crypto for so long, my bigger bags from when I first originally bought them, my Bitcoin, my Ethereum, and even some of the kind of newer alts that I bought in the last cycle, the DOT, the Solanas, they're still way up from kind of when I first started buying them. Now I'm way down from my all-time peak at the last bull market, and I'm still hanging on to a ton of alts that I didn't get out of last time, because I had a big portfolio. Now, again, because I think my ratios were probably pretty good, and that's one thing that we always have to talk to new investors about. Make sure that your portfolio is diversified in the way that you want it. Now, most of my money is still in Bitcoin. Then I've got a good chunk of Ethereum. I've got a good chunk of DOT and Solana and some of the other layer ones. And so these like high risk, smaller alts that I was in, some of them I still believe in. Others, I'm like, they're probably dead. Now, those kind of zombie wallets that I have with a bunch of like these little alts in there, I still got a bunch of those. Like, are you still sitting on a bunch of those, or did you?
Thankfully, I got out. No, I mean, I still have some of them for sure. Like, I wasn't able to get all of them, and greed kept in, and I felt like some of them might have a major recovery, but I was able to get out of a lot of those, and like you, I focused my attention back towards consolidating into the blue chips, all the ones you just mentioned. And the focus now over the next few months is focusing in on some of what I still consider blue chips, like you and I talked about, Near and some others that we want to build some bags of, because we've got really good positions in Bitcoin and DOT and Ethereum and a lot of those, right? And then we're talking about Poly and other stuff, and those are the bags that I'm building right now. I don't think it's not about trying to find that alt that's going to give you a grand slam tomorrow at this point.
No.
So the strategy has definitely changed.
Yeah. So basically, I'm holding on to whatever I have. I like, and we'll in future episodes, because hopefully CryptoWise is back this time. We've had a few false starts in the past months where we said we were going to be back, and then we never came back. But hopefully at least now we'll start up once a week, and then we'll kind of go from there and hopefully pick up videos, and we'll talk more and more about what it is we're buying, what portfolio we want to have, and build, what bags we're building, which ones are we happy with. But now, the only thing I'm doing right now is I'm still DCAing into Bitcoin. It's the only one I'm really I have, but I still have substantial bags of a lot of the alts that I had. But I'm still accumulating Bitcoin on these dips.
Yeah, that's a given. I mean, that's always a given for us, is we're going to keep accumulating Bitcoin. But there's also there's other ones that I think now is a great time to start accumulating as well, and we'll talk about that as we continue to bring the show to you. And we're also going to not on this show, but we're also going to bring up and dive into where NFTs are at and what we're doing in that in a later show. But yeah, there's a lot to be said. This is definitely, without question, this is the time to focus. I mean, what happens in a bear is you get 90+% of the market that gets absolutely ruined and runs away, right? And then people lose focus of it, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, a bull comes, and oh, by the way, you're waiting to buy in again at near the next top. And that's what we don't want to do. And so the focus of our attention...
And we don't know. The other thing about it, Marv, is you don't know what...
No idea.
Last time
we
were in crypto... We were in crypto winter last time. Okay, if we remember, this is 2018, the crash happened. Let's look at the Bitcoin chart here. So, we had the peak in at the end of 2017, and then the crash, and then it's basically like two years more, 2.5 years. And I remember, what happened to my chart here? I lost my chart.
Bring the chart back.
I remember that Chainlink kind of was the one that all of a sudden Chainlink was like going up. Yeah. But there were all these other projects that were building when no one cared.
Right.
And so, you probably have heard some of them. Uniswap, Aave, that DeFi summer.
It was like yesterday.
These were projects that in the winter you would hear about these things. Uniswap is have you heard of Uniswap? And you're like, no one cares. Most people are like, no one cares about crypto. No one cares about crypto. And then you miss out on what's going to be that next thing. So yes, I agree. This is when it's not fun. This is when it's more of like a job.
It's more work.
You really need to focus.
This is where the payoff actually happens. Really happens long term.
The payoff happens. Let's look at these all-time highs, because I always like looking at where we're at. And this is,
by the way, if you're still up on Solana, congratulations to you, because I am not. I'm a believer. Like, I've still got big bags of Sol, but I got in way late on that one.
Yeah, that's true. I would say that I definitely mostly bought in way higher on Solana at this point. But we're back where Solana because I remember when Solana was at $27 before it kind of took off.
Well, thanks. You should have called me and said buy some.
That we're in.
Why weren't you calling me, telling me to build my bag?
Well, we're going to talk about Sam Bankman-Fried in this show too, in a bit, because that's a pretty good story. What's going on with him and Bitboy? But he was the one. He was shilling his Solana bags. Let's not joke around, okay? All the VCs got into Solana kind of in. And this was kind of early 21, February of 21. And that's when it really kind of took off. But and we're kind of back at those levels. So I do think that there is kind of good support here in this range. Obviously, we've been ranging in here for Solana. But yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, I'm down on Solana. But since I got into crypto, I'm still way up. That's the thing, is like, you want to get, and if you can get in on these down markets, like let's look at this. So in terms of risk reward, I would argue this with you, Marv. I don't think there has never been a better trade in my lifetime than crypto right now, from risk to reward. Because even if you talk about crypto early on, like if you go back and you're like, well, I could have bought Bitcoin at $1 or whatever. Yeah, of course. But the risk was way bigger back then.
Absolutely.
Right? Because Bitcoin hadn't proven itself, and so many things could have gone wrong. Now we're in what, the fourth cycle of Bitcoin?
Yeah.
We've seen this. Crypto is built out. Every day when I go to crypto news, there's like 10 huge bullish events happening where crypto is becoming more adopted. Mainstream industries are starting to use blockchain in all sorts of different ways. The blockchains themselves are every day proving themselves out. They're, all these things are happening and they're getting fixed. And so they're getting stronger.
Listen, just turn on CNBC. I mean, half of CNBC's airtime is crypto now. They literally have live crypto tickers going. We're in a different phase of crypto. There's no question. So from a risk reward standpoint, you're absolutely correct.
I don't think it's ever been better. So
it has never been a better setup to start investing in crypto than today.
So even if it goes down, let's say Bitcoin, let's say worst case scenario in my mind. Okay, obviously worst case, this is still a risky asset. Something happens to the blockchain or something, and it proves that it's not secure or whatever on Bitcoin. It could still go to zero. Okay, let's not pretend that there's not a small possibility of that. Do I think that will ever happen? No. So let's say it goes down 50%. Let's say you buy in today at 19,000, it goes down 50%, and it's down at around 10,000 or whatever. Okay. We still know. Okay. So let's say that's in my mind, at least, I think that's the biggest downside. I don't think we're getting anywhere close to that. I think we are around the bottom. Whether the bottom's going to be 17,000, 16,500, I really don't see us going down to 12 or 10. Of course, I could be wrong, and I try to, prepare for anything happening. But let's say it can go down another 50, and that's the downside. We all know what the upside is.
I mean,
the
look,
upside, even if it just reaches its all-time high, is 70 grand.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, that's not the total ceiling. So so in terms of risk reward, in terms of as an investor or trader, I really think this could be the greatest.
And then you look at other things. You look at,
now.
Absolutely. And it's not just Bitcoin. Look at Solana, $28. What was its all-time high? Look at Polkadot, right?
And if we go, right now, Solana's down 90%. Now, of course, the risk is higher with these ones because we don't know that Solana is going to survive necessarily.
Well, I think it's
become adopted.
I don't know.
I think I agree with you. I think, and we'll talk about which ones we like best in upcoming episodes. I agree with you, but we're looking at like some of these blue chip alts, Polkadot, Solana, they're down almost 90%. Then you've got, if you're a Cardano person, 89%. All of this is in the same range. We're looking at about 90% for most alts. Some things that, like BNB did one of the, they seem to have survived the most. I think they were down like 60% or something like that. But so we're about down in 90%. The other thing that I wanted to talk about all-time highs is the timing of it, because so this is Solana here, 2842 as of this recording. All-time high was just under 260, but look when the all-time high was 12 months ago, November 6th. We are coming upon the Beariversary, Marv.
Wow.
Remember last year? Last year we were recording a lot. Yeah. And little did we know we were at the all-time high of that bull cycle.
Wow. That's crazy.
And things started dipping, and I definitely, I'm not going to pretend that I called the top. I definitely did not. As things were dipping, I thought we had another ramp up. I think most people did. Most people did not see the macroeconomy going, inflation going to 11% globally, and these interest rates spiking so,
and wars.
But think about this. I mean, how great is that to have survived a whole year of a downtrend in crypto?
It's a huge indicator. I mean, it speaks volumes.
And every day it means we're closer to the next bull run.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned at the beginning of the show the kind of time frame, and I'm kind of with you here in terms of how long this could take. But we know in crypto, the beautiful thing about crypto is the halvening. Okay, we know that around March of 2024, the Bitcoin is going to cut in half again in terms of its inflation rate.
Yeah.
So to me, that's kind of the timeline. That to me is the furthest timeline out in terms of whether it's like a couple of months after the halvening or 6 months after the halvening. We know what happened this time. So what was that? The last halvening was 2020, I guess. And that was, we saw it was right when COVID kind of crashed the market, and then we saw it kind of basically the next bull run started. I think we could start earlier than that this time.
I suspect it's going to be by the news. I suspect it's going to be before the halvening. and could be months before the halvening that we start to see that real momentum start back. No different than like the Fed indicating that interest rates are going to start coming down. It's not when the interest rate actually comes down, it's when the indication is we're headed towards that. And so I think we're going to see some movement. I mean, it's no one has a crystal ball. We definitely don't. You know, something could change this tomorrow, and maybe, hey, maybe things turn around way faster than we think. The reality is, I agree with you completely. There's no better time than right now to get your hands dirty and really start digging in and building a portfolio if you don't already have one. If you have one, start building that out even further for the next real run. Regardless of when the run is, 12 months, 2 months, 18 months, 24 months, it doesn't matter. It's the chances are it's within the next 24 months. So
yeah,
when that happens,
probabilities.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the probability obviously now is that, you know, we've been whatever, if you're getting in now or you've survived the last year, that's a year, whatever the timeline is, cut a year off because we've already survived it.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you're getting in now, you already, lucky you missed basically a year of downtrend. So good for you. I would say one strategy I do tell people, not a financial advice, of course, and I always say that to them, but I would say if you're not at all in crypto or not at all in the market at all, that to me is where you kind of want to be at least a little bit in, because you never know when these kind of huge days are going to happen.
Well, that's where you and I differ a little bit. I mean, you say a little bit in, I say go mortgage your house, maybe get 2 or 3 mortgages, max out your credit cards, get the hell in here, because this is what's going to make you rich on the next round. No, I mean, look, yeah, the conservative approach, you definitely want to have some exposure.
But I know a lot of people that have been scared off.
Absolutely,
right?
or were hurt, or came in a little bit and have been hurt, and they're skittish.
And then we won't see them again until, you know.
I have the same
Bitcoin
friends.
40 again, and they kind of hear about it, and they're like, oh, Bitcoin's back. And then it's like at 70, then they're finally buying.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm like, we know that basically these huge spikes happen way faster than you think, and you just don't know. So you want to at least, yes, you want to have as much dry powder on the sidelines to be able to keep buying through this downturn, but have something in the market. I'm not telling you what to buy. Obviously, I think Bitcoin is kind of a no-brainer to be part of that, but you want to have a little bit in there.
And that's what the show's going to, I mean, that's what the show is going to be about during this times, right? Is really digging in deep and analyzing where our money should be going, and we'll talk about what we're doing, and hopefully, you know, our CryptoWise fam can take some great stuff from that. Now, bear markets aren't for everyone there, Milt. I mean, some people are getting pretty emotional. We were, you know, Bitboy Crypto. I've never seen him like this before. He's heating up, man.
I love this. I got to say, Marv, I loved this. So obviously, if you pay attention to crypto, you've probably seen this. But we got to play a little bit about this rant. So
I don't represent the people. The fuck I don't.
Oh, there it is.
I'm the one who does.
Whoa. Warning.
Warning. I'm the one out here putting the work in.
Strong language.
Trying to save crypto while these devils, Sam Bankman-Fried, Brian Armstrong, they're trying to permanently ruin it. This is not about money for me. I hope you guys understand this. I am here fighting for you. This guy with these freaking glasses on, this douchebag, is out here trying to tell you.
Why is he picking on the glasses?
Know what to do. Only the suits.
I don't know.
Only the people who have all the money.
He really hates people with glasses.
You can determine what happens.
I guess.
No, our bill is for the people.
It's for the people.
We've got the funding for it, and it's coming in. I don't represent.
He's got the funding. I guess.
All right, so
I guess if you're in a suit, you wear glasses. I guess that's what he's saying.
Well, don't wear glasses around Bitboy.
Don't wear glasses around Bitboy. Even if the sun's out.
And then, the best thing was like how many people call him fat, you know, because he used to be fat. And now you were even saying before
he looks jacked.
Like he's looking jacked. All right, so let's explain to everyone why the jacked Bitboy is so angry here. So this is all about regulation. Okay, this is about crypto regulation, which is going to be the next big thing, I think, Marv. Obviously, we've been waiting for this forever. And this is mostly has to do with America and the States. You know, there's a lot of uncertainty around how they're going to regulate crypto. So anyway, this feud between Bitboy and Sam Bankman-Fried. So Sam Bankman-Fried, everyone knows who he is. He's the maybe you should pull up a photo of him for those who are watching this on YouTube. So he's the guy who runs FTX. He's one of the richest guys in crypto. He's been buying up a ton of these companies that are going bankrupt in crypto. So he's been working with some people within the U.S. government about how to regulate crypto. And BitBoy has been doing that too on his end with some other Congress people or senators or anything. And this is BitBoy explains all of this on a great episode of Crypto Banter. If you guys watch Crypto Banter, but they did an episode on Saturday where BitBoy joined Ran on Crypto Banter, and it's a great interview. I definitely recommend you go to see it. But anyway, this is what the feud is. Okay, so Ben BitBoy, he's kind of accusing Sam Bankman-Fried as to the fact that that his regulation is really going to destroy DeFi, and he's just doing it really to better FTX and the centralized exchange, and that BitBoy's regulation bill is really all about the people, and it's going to save DeFi. It's going to be great for crypto. Now, there's been a leaked version of the Sam Bankman-Fried regulations there. So that is like, there are some legitimate concerns around that one. That one's out already, and you can read that, find that on the internet. Ben's BitBoy's bill hasn't even come out yet. So we don't know. We don't know what to think of it. But that's what the big feud is about. But this is a big deal. I got to say,
it is a big deal.
I loved it because it made crypto exciting again. Because there's nothing like a good rant, and then of course the internet picks up on that, and then it's just fun for days. Like this guy who made the song,
Jonathan
the BitBoy
Mann.
song.
Yeah,
let's play a bit about this. Yeah, Jonathan Mann.
We gotta play it because the song is amazing. Yeah. He's this guy's
a rant like this deserves a remix, and obviously this is a good one. Let's hear a little bit about this remix.
Trying to tell you, this is about money for me. It's me. I'm here fighting for all the money. Devils, douchebag, with these freaking glasses on. This is about money for me. It's me.
Devils, douchebags.
Fuck, I don't. I'm the one who does. I'm the one who does.
This guy's great.
This is good. And if you're watching on YouTube, obviously this video is great. But if you're listening to the podcast, then check out the video on Jonathan Mann's Twitter. Oh, I could listen to this all day. I love it. I'm going to put this on my running list, my Spotify running list. It's so good. But anyway, Marv, we got to talk about this regulation because obviously this is huge. This is going to be huge.
Yes. Yeah. Talk to me. It is going to be huge. I mean, the next real move for crypto is going to be centered around regulation.
Yeah, and it's complicated, man. It's complicated. I read through the Sam Bankman-Fried proposal, the bill, and then Eric. Everyone knows Eric Vor. What's his name? There he is. Voorhees. Eric Voorhees. He's one of the geniuses in crypto. He started Shapeshift. He's been involved in a lot of things. He had a really great kind of counter response to the bill that you can find on his Twitter. It's this one here, the response to SBF and principled crypto regulation. So if you're interested in crypto and you're going to be investing in crypto, this is really important stuff to keep track of, because these regulations, how they regulate decentralized finance and all that kind of stuff and all these different aspects of crypto, is going to be super, super important. But the one thing we do know is until there is regulation at all, the institutions aren't going to be able to fully invest in crypto. And that at this, back in the day when it was still 2013, retail could double or triple the price of Bitcoin. But without big institutions coming in at this point, we're not going to see those big moves yet until there's some regulation.
No, a lot of the big influencers, like the new age influencers like Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, and a lot of these guys, I mean, they're heavily touting on the fact that regulations are once it's regulated, then crypto, the next phase of crypto is here, and it's bigger than could even have imagined, right? All the pensions, all the funds, all the institutional cash, even if it's a small percentage of that, will dramatically affect the value of crypto as a whole and the major blue chips, et cetera. And so regulation is really important, and it's so important that it's done properly because it could also have a negative effect if it isn't, right? And so
huge.
It's a very delicate topic. Now, I don't know, like Milt, do you want BitBoy to be the guy running regs, or who do you want at the front of this, right?
I gotta say, this has been really hard. And I was definitely like really skeptical about BitBoy and that rant, obviously.
Well,
it's just classic. That is amazing. But when I watched his interview, and I know you haven't seen it yet, but his interview on Banter, he was definitely way more articulate about the whole story. You got a better sense of, and his argument is really like he's a bit, I got to say, obviously he's pumping his own tires on a certain aspect of it. And he's definitely making it seem like he's responsible for this other bill, whatever. But his greater argument, which I agree with, is we don't want one person doing this. And Sam Bankman-Fried, is he become too powerful?
Yeah.
Like, we know that he donated something like millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to politicians in the last election cycle and this election cycle. So he's definitely currying a lot of favor with politicians. He's become kind of the face of crypto in terms of Washington, D.C. And do we want him, someone who runs a centralized exchange, really in charge of that? Probably not. Do we want BitBoy? Probably definitely not. But it's a good argument to have. And so SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried on Twitter. So this kind of feud started. And I think this has been overall positive because he replied on Twitter and he did a big thread about kind of taking in everyone's response to his bill and talking about why some of the arguments against it and things like that. And he's kind of saying that his bill, most of the arguments he's talking about centralized exchanges and what the regulation should be for them and how they interact with DeFi. But there's still a lot of uncertainty and concern around, well, what would that mean for actual like DeFi protocols and how those are regulated? And, some of the issues, there are a ton of different issues there, but some of them are like, can you blacklist different addresses? Like, if someone's on the terrorist watch list or whatever, and we know an address is there. Well, if someone sends them money, should they be blacklisted? And should a protocol have to decide who can use their protocol or not? I don't know. It's very complicated, but we know it needs to be done. And hopefully, fingers crossed. I don't really trust.
I think should we start a CryptoWise fund to allow Milton and Marv, who know nothing about this, to lead the pack? Because I think the regulation should be very simple. I think it should be very simple. Crypto is now legal. Okay, crypto is now legal. If you're using it for illegal purposes, you go to jail. Otherwise, it's legal and it's regulated, period. Let's go to the moon. That would be my bill.
I think I don't think that changes anything.
I
like you brought up Kevin O'Leary. I like the fact that Kevin O'Leary talks about, let's just get a stable coin bill through first, let's
baby steps. I mean, governments need baby steps.
Yeah,
they need baby steps
because, if we can get just stable coin regulation where people could trust stable coins,
right?
Because right now so many people, especially what happened to Luna, everyone's scared of is Tether going to fall apart? Is USDC, is it safe or not? We can get some regulation around stable coins so we trust that they are backed one for one. Everyone can start using them and feel good about that. That I think would be a huge kind of step forward just in itself.
Agreed. Yeah, totally agree there. So I think, but either way, I think the consensus is, look, none of this was happening 3-4 years ago. And we're at a point now where we're way further ahead in terms of the roadblocks for crypto to become regulated and really, really integrated into this.
And some countries are way ahead of this. Like this is all US based. And obviously America is the biggest.
You talk about like El Salvador, it doesn't count. the same way you talk
No,
about.
but you're seeing
the
even some
largest
European countries. You're seeing Japan. You're seeing some that are doing
Absolutely.
it right.
Absolutely.
I mean, even Canada has a Bitcoin ETF. You know, they were really quick on that.
Yeah,
I
but
think maybe
Canada's also
Australia
made
has
some
one.
major big mistakes too when it comes to crypto.
That's
I
true.
mean, you can't
That
even
is
use
true.
Binance over there for the most part in most exchanges and stuff. And so, although they've gone ahead in certain ways, in other ways they've gone backwards. I talk to friends out there all the time, right? They're actually leaving Canada because of these things. And so it's tough, but it has to be done right. And I think the U.S., I mean, the U.S. has been very cautious. They've taken their time because they know. I mean, listen, they're a global power. And what they do is going to set the tone for a lot of other countries. A lot of other countries have been sitting back waiting to say, let's see what the U.S. does, right? And so it's a major, major, major part of what's the future of crypto is going to be. And it could be huge, and it could also have some backlash. But ultimately, the fact that it's headed towards regulation and a more broadly regulated.
And it's bipartisan now, too, which I like. Think about it. Not even like a global pandemic wasn't bipartisan.
Can we tell Sam to send his lobbyists our way, too? Like, we could use some of those hundreds of millions of dollars. We'll vote on this thing.
Yeah, I'll vote. I'll vote for it.
Yeah, let's vote. Let's vote. Sam, just so you know, you can have our vote if you add us to your list there. Okay?
Costs a lot of money, our vote. But,
it costs a lot of money.
Inflation. Nothing.
Inflation.
We have no power, but...
I can do a rant like Bitboy. I can start sweating and looking all like steroid type.
That was a good rant, though. That came from the heart, though. That's the thing.
You could see him shaking. You could see him shaking.
He was legitimate. He was legit angry at that. But
he was angry, which is great.
Marv, all right. So is there anything else we should talk about? I want to talk about, obviously, because, you know, our beloved Dot, Marv.
Yeah,
I'm talking about a lot of L1s on this channel.
Really good news for Dot. Really good news for Dot, in my opinion, just happened
Dot's
recently.
been kind of taking a beating, though. I got to say, not just price. Obviously, its price has been brutal, but everything else has been brutal, too. But in terms, I got to say, it gets so ignored on the other crypto channels.
But I'm not upset about that. One thing I love about Dot is they haven't been focused on hyping it at all. Now, you have to hope as a big Dot supporter that at some point they turn the knob and they start focusing towards taking Dot mainstream and really promoting the hell out of it. But their priorities have been much different than a lot of projects in terms of how they come to market, and it's build it, and they will come, right? And so
I still love it.
They've been heavily focused on building it. And now Gavin Wood, here's the news, right? CEO, co-founder, he's now stepping back in the CEO role, stepping away from it to go focus on building this and bringing it mainstream.
Yeah, I love this. So this news came out a couple of days ago, I think. And everyone was freaking out. And it was like, this is kind of an example of like when news pops out and it just kind of goes viral and the headline's completely wrong. Because the headline was like, Gavin Wood stepping down as CEO, which is factually correct. But it made it sound like,
Polkadot's in trouble. What's happening? Yeah.
But then he puts this statement out, but I want to read a little bit of it. But Dan Reeser, who's one of the, he's one of the head people at Akala, he put out this tweet, which I think sums it up perfectly. He says, the real headline, Polkadot development shop Parity Tech appoints its co-founder and skilled business leader, Bjorn Wagner, to CEO, allowing Polkadot founder and technical leader Gavin Wood to focus efforts on technical strategy, architecture, and development. That's really the news. And it is great news because Gavin Wood
that's what he should be focused on. That's what he should be focused on.
That's where his genius
He doesn't
lies.
need to be out there doing CNBC interviews and stuff like that. He should be back in the back room building the best platform possible and the infrastructure to take this thing and scale it globally. And that's what he started doing at the beginning. And now he's back in the horse, making sure that it gets done right. And I think this is great news for Polkadot.
Yeah. And in the statement, so this is his statement here. And he kind of, he sets it out. He says, anyone who's worked with me knows where my heart lies. I'm a thinker, coder, designer, and architect. Says a great day for me is taking 10 hours straight to think out some problem, prototype something, or collapse some desperate thoughts into an article. The role of CEO has never been one which I have coveted. And he goes on to talk about it. Yeah, we want his genius building Polkadot.
Absolutely.
Doing the actual coding and building of Polkadot. And so I think this is huge bullish news.
I think so too. I think it's massive news. But like you said, DOT isn't, DOT has been a sleeper, right? It's been quietly building, quietly growing. They've done a lot. They've done a lot in the last 2 years. I got to say, I just
2 years ago, Marv, we started this channel 2 years ago now, that?
Yeah, I know.
Over 2 years ago now. And some of my earliest videos were on parachains. They hadn't even launched parachains yet. And now they've got a ton of parachains. They got XCM, the cross-chain communication system. I think in the next 6 months, I mean, obviously we'll talk a lot about it at the channel. We'll talk a lot about what the parachains are doing and how they're working together and stuff like that. But I definitely think that DOT is one to watch in the next bull cycle. And obviously you and I have been talking about it for so long and we were so early on it. Clearly we were wrong that it was going to be one of the leaders of the last bull cycle, but we're not the only ones talking about it anymore. Did you see what Alex Becker's been talking about?
Has Becker been talking about? Good. I mean, I haven't seen that. But the truth is, listen, we were talking about it, but I don't even think, we were wrong, but we weren't going to sell in this cycle anyway. I mean, we've been talking about DOT as a 5-year plan, right? Like this is not a short-term flip for us. It never has been.
No. I mean, obviously, if I'd known, if I had a crystal ball, I would have.
Yeah, I wouldn't have kept buying at $40. I would wait till $5, but would have done the same for all of them.
I would have bought maybe more Sol at $1 and sold it at $2.60 and put that all into DOT. But I'm just saying, like DOT definitely didn't have its moment yet. It hasn't had its moment yet. It didn't have it in the last bull run, and we've been kind of one of the first people talking about how great we think it is and that it's one of our favorite layer ones. Which even
listen, if you're day trading and you're flipping, it wasn't the best move. If you're investing for the long term, I think it's it's an absolutely fine move. Like, you could have invested in one and flipped to the other and day traded in this, that, and the other. But that's not our, when we're making investments like that, that's not what we're thinking about. We're thinking about the long term. So, and I don't actually feel bad about it at all.
I don't know.
I feel good that I have an opportunity to buy more DOT at $5.80 or $6. Like I'm still buying DOT.
Of course, I'm just saying.
No, don't say anything.
Admitting that
Tell
it didn't
people.
have its moment in the last bull run in the way that some of the other
blockchains
had. But we will going to be talking about, so Marv, in upcoming videos, we got to talk about, we're going to be talking more about DOT, but other layer ones, because this is, as we mentioned earlier in the video, we're going to be talking about what it is, like what we want our portfolio to look like when the next bull run starts.
And you and I have been talking a lot behind the scenes.
You and I are going to be talking back and forth. We're going to be revealing which ones we want, maybe our top 10, top 15, maybe. But I know DOT will be on for both of us, but it's going to be interesting to see where we agree and disagree on some of the other ones.
I'm excited. I'm excited to be back in the seat here with you, Milt, because I miss doing the show. And like you said, real life got busy, right? It's been challenging times, not just in crypto, but around. But one thing that's been on the back of my mind for a long time has been you and I getting back together in these seats and bringing this show back to this world.
Oh, yeah. It feels good to be back. I can't, and we're going to be doing more and more of this. So make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel,
our podcast, because we're pushing our podcast now, right? If you're listening to us on podcasts, guys, and if you're not, if you're on YouTube or you're anywhere else, make sure to subscribe on any of the podcast networks. We're on most of the major ones. Subscribe to CryptoWise. You can hear us just in your earbuds while you're walking to work or taking the bus. But it's been a lot of fun, Marv. Like you said, subscribe to the channel, smash the likes, guys. We really love you. It helps the channel a lot. And yeah, Milt, I'm looking forward to coming back, doing this frequently with you and diving deep, because there's no better time to be in crypto than in the middle of the bear.
And there's nothing better than talking crypto. God, I love crypto.
So do I, buddy. It's been real, my friend. Glad to be back, and we will see all of you CryptoWise, the entire CryptoWise family, very, very soon.